How you doing?
Good, you?
Well, everybody's gotten kind of quiet, and it's approaching the 7 o'clock hour, and I think our program is going to be rather long. So we'll get started as soon as we have one other person come on in. We will call the meeting to order. These chairs in the front row, no back seats available.
All right.
Welcome to the April 2026 meeting of the Houston County Historical Society. If you would please silence your phones, and there's a sign-in sheet going around. We'd like for you to sign in if you would please. We will have the pledge today. Will you stand, led by Mr. Ray Elliott.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Okay, first on the agenda will be the meeting minutes. Melissa, have anybody have any additions, corrections, deletions? I hear none, so we would deem them approved. Okay, Melissa? Your minutes are approved? All right.
All right, good.
Treasurer's report, Miss Leah.
I have the report for February and March. We had income of over $600. And we've had expenses. We paid for our Christmas hams, and we opened the new CD, as we discussed before. So currently we have $3,254.80 in our money market checking. $10,581.19 in our big CD, and our little CD is $3,500. And I want to mention this month we have our biggest expense. We have to pay our insurance in April, and that will be at $464.
Okay, any questions for Miss Leah? Or a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor? Okay. New business. I don't know we have any new business except that we're working on our schedule for the rest of the year. Old business, Donna, would you give us an update since you have a big audience today on the veterans?
Okay, we're working on doing a program next year that'll honor the Vietnam and the Korean War veterans. We're going to run it from the end of 45 to the end of Vietnam in the middle of 75 and everything. Right now we have got either 50 pictures or news articles on the Korean veterans, and we've got about 150 articles or pictures with the Vietnam veterans. Sandra Baggett has really helped us out. Leah's helped it out. Ray gave us a bunch of information on him and Benny, and we appreciate that. So if anybody has a veteran in that area, we'd love to have pictures, any information that they could give us on that, we would appreciate it. And that'll be next year when we do the program.
Our upcoming meetings, in May, we have Sid Vinson giving the historic downtown Erin presentation. In June, we should have a joint meeting with Stewart County Historical Society in Dover. It's our turn to be their guest. In July, America 250. In November, we have the archives. December, we have our Christmas dinner. We have August, September, and October open right now. So if any of you have a program you'd like to present, we would really enjoy having you present with us. Melissa, do you have an archives update? Since we've not been here in 2 months.
I'm Melissa Barker. I'm the Houston County Archivist. Those of you that don't know me, we have the archives in the basement of the courthouse. We have been there for 15 years, so if you live here and haven't been there, why not? Come see us. We have museum and exhibits and displays, Houston County history. A lot of people have donated things for us to save our history. Earlier today, I got the privilege to speak to the Rotary Club about some great history. So come see us. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. We close for lunch between noon and 1. First, I would like to, Deborah told me to do this. We got a note from one of our members. Some of you may know him, so it's from his wife. It says, my husband, Jerry Gilman, passed away March 14th. He was a former Erin resident and always enjoyed the newsletter when it came. And so if you know Mr. Jerry Gilman, he has passed away. His obituary, she says, will be in today's newspaper. So if you get the newspaper, you can see his obituary. Next, I wanted to share a couple of wonderful things. Many of you know that we scour everywhere looking for Houston County history to try to bring it back home. One of the ways we do that is on eBay. We have a fund within our budget that allows me to find eBay things and to purchase them. And our latest purchase is something that I talked about at the Rotary Club. It actually gave me the idea. Many of the old businesses are actually really large businesses that were in Houston County way back in the beginning, actually produce their own money. Many of you know what company or store money is, where companies actually produce their own money, paid their employees, but the catch was is the employees could only spend that money in the company's store. So if you think about that for a minute, you'll understand what the problem is there. So, but what's interesting is that many of these companies, this money survives. And so every once in a while, there'll be something on eBay and I'll be able to get it. This one is actually for the Atkins and Company business that was on Yellow Creek. So I have not done the research on that to see exactly what kind of business he had. But this is one of his 25-cent tokens. You're welcome to look at it. We have several. We have E.W. Rosher tokens, because he was in the lime industry. And we have J.G. Collier tokens. So if you want to see them, they're at the archives. We actually have paper money that is H.H. Bucco. It was actually found in a book. And so dating back to the early 1800s, or the early part of Houston County, the 1800s. The other thing I wanted to share is a donation that we received recently. Many of you will remember, they're not passed away, but Ashley and Susan Wiltshire. Ashley contacted me and donated a wonderful, beautiful book that was done on their home place here in Houston County. And it's called 45 Years on Yellow Creek. And yeah, that's the... And so when you look, it's a picture book, but it also has a lot of explanation. It has a picture of the original homestead when they purchased it back in 1974. And it goes all the way up to 2019 when they sold and moved. And so you can go in, there's all kinds of pictures, and it shows you how they restored the home, added to it. I'm not sure where this is located. Somebody can tell me where it's actually located. I know it's on Yellow Creek, but so you're welcome to look at this. I'll put it over there after the meeting. But I thought it was a fantastic book, and he wanted to donate a copy to the archives. I think that's all I have. I can say that someone already asked me tonight about working in the courthouse. We have construction going on. They're adding a 30-foot addition to the courthouse, which is pretty historic in itself. I am documenting it. I'm taking photographs of the progress so that in 100 years someone will say, did anybody take photographs of that? And we'll have photographs, because there's lots of things that happen in Houston County that we don't have photographs or documents or anything to tell us about it. So I am taking photographs and trying to document it. If you come in the courthouse, it is difficult finding parking, and it gets kind of dusty, and they use jackhammers. So sometimes it's hard to hear your neighbor. But I think it's going to be a great thing for Houston County. So I'm looking forward to when they start actually doing the building part and not the tearing out part. People that are from here and have been in the courthouse, they, in the last few days, have been tearing out all the stairs on that side, the inside the building. And I don't know what those stairs were made out of, but when they used sledgehammers and you could hear it fall, it sounded like glass breaking. So it, it's kind of hard to see them do that to the historic courthouse. But then again, I know that it's for progress and we need the room. So, but anyway, come see me in the Archives Museum. We're in the basement. I would love to have y'all come and visit our museum. And that's what I got.
What about the armory? You need information on that?
As far as I know, some of you that may or may not know, the county purchased the National Guard Armory in Tennessee Ridge. And as far as I know, unless something changes, 3 entities will be going into there, maybe more. The Senior Citizen Center, which is much needed because their place is not ADA friendly. And the Veteran Service Officer, from what I understand, and the Archives and Museum. We are going to more than double our space, which means we can have a lot more exhibits and displays. Some of you either grew up in Stewart or know this. When they tore down the old Stewart post office, they removed the inside of the post office, which is the entire front counter and the boxes, which was handmade way back in the day. I was called, asked if we wanted to have it. I had no place to put it, but we accepted it, and the fair board has allowed us to set it up down at the fairgrounds. So if you go down there, you can see it. But when we get our new space, we have a special place we're going to put it where anybody and everybody can see it. And so I'm very, very pleased to be able to do that. So as far as timeline goes, the word is they're supposed to start refurbishments next month. I'm thinking within 6 months to a year, we should be starting to move in. So that'd be great for the museum because we'll have a lot more space.
And if anybody has any postcards or envelopes that have a Stewart post office box on
Yeah.
it that they would like to
Yeah.
donate,
We
that would
have
be,
some. Yeah,
put
we
them
have
back
some.
in the slots in the post
Mhm.
office. So
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
So I'm planning on doing a lot of great things with that post office once I'm not able to do a lot with it now because I'm not at the fairgrounds, but once we get it in the museum, it's going to be a really special thing for the county and for the history. So, thank you.
Okay, on to our program. Mr. Phil Brown has the Ben Brown cousins to present. How many of you in this audience are descendants that you know of Ben Brown? All right. Okay, you need no introduction, so let's get started and see what you can tell us.
I'll turn this around or I can halfway look at y'all. I'm Phil Brown. I don't know if there's anybody in here that don't know me, but anyway, if there is, I was raised in Houston County, graduated from here in high school in '61. This will always be home. Left here in '71. And I'm the great grandson of Benjamin and Rachel Lane Brown, who moved from North Carolina around 1810. The information I have to share with you tonight was compiled by Miss Frances Davis and completed around 1967. So most of the descendants is cut off at 67. And we've got plenty anyway. So, and I think the information I had was told by Dad, Miss Davis did all this with postcards, which is absolutely unbelievable to me because it's 65 typewritten pages of descendants of the original. And she'd send out a postcard and say, you know, how many kids you got, and she's got all the born and death dates also. She was a descendant of Margaret Brown, who married George Knight in 1856. And there's one thing about most all of this. If I'm wrong, I don't know that anybody in here that can tell me that I'm wrong. I ought to be able to move on, maybe. But seriously, if you'd like to share, I mean, when I go through somebody here and you want to ask a question, if you'll just holler at me. I may not know, but I'll try as we go through this. And as you know, about half of the people in Houston County actually came from Ben and Rachel Brown. I have no idea I had so many distant cousins, especially all the Knights and the Nichols and the triplets. Besides thanking Miss Davis for this, I'd also like to thank Charlie Bateman for helping me put all this together, and he's done most all the work, plus he's kind of the one that conned me into doing this. And my daughter, she retyped all of this. It was very, very, not legible, and she's redid the whole thing for me. And briefly, let me read you just a little bit about Miss Davis. She lived the house right by Wiseman's funeral home, Dave's, I'm sorry, but Wiseman back then. And her dad was the depot clerk at the depot. And I don't think she was ever married. Joyce and them probably know, but she was the daughter of Viola Knight Davis, great great granddaughter, same hookup as me, of Ben and Rachel Brown. She graduated here in high school, received her BS degree from Austin Peay State in Clarksville, substitute teacher for the Houston County Schools, clerk for the LN Railroad Company in Erin, member of the Cumberland Presbyterian Church in Arlington. She was actually church orchestra, played the violin, secretary of Sunday school, and past matron of the Royal Chapter number 213 Order Eastern Star. And I don't know if many people, some of you here I'm sure remember her, but she did all this in the 60s. And now this is a tombstone that's out on Long Branch at the Tomlinson place. And they just had a rock there with it etched in, and Gene Brown and I did this, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, because you couldn't read it, but that's at what I call the Tomlinson place, is a Ben Brown cemetery, and several of the first generation, the Knights, triplets, are buried there, plus most of the Tomlinsons are, but when Ben Jr. was born, he was the 8th child of this couple. He married Jane McDonald, and that's where McDonald Cemetery started, as far as I know. And I think they were the first two that was buried up there. And when I was a kid, there was very few buried up there, but it's a big cemetery now. Let me read you a little bit of a biography on Ben Brown and Rachel. And I'm not going to do these biographies, but on very few. Ben Brown and his wife Rachel Lane Brown were born in North Carolina. They were married in North Carolina and came to Tennessee in a covered wagon. One night was spent in Davidson County, where the Capitol building now stands. They bought supplies at a nearby store, which was owned by a man named Nash. And it's been said that Nashville was actually named after this man. And this was told by Margaret Knight, which was early descendant. They settled in Umpers County on Long Branch Creek, White Oak community on a farm of several acres, and owned 7 slaves. The slaves were said to have been true and good to Ben and Rachel and helped them with all their work. Ben was described as descendants of the red-headed Irish man, and many of his descendants have inherited his red hair, including me and all the Nichols. Rachel was blind for 12 years before her death, and she died at the age of 90. Ben and Rachel are buried in the Brown Cemetery on Long Branch in Houston County. And once again, that's right there at what I call the Tomlinson place. And when Rachel died, she was buried in, well, let me back up. When Ben died, he was buried in Umpers County. When Rachel died, she was buried in Houston County. Now, the cemetery is the same, as Houston County was later formed from portions of Dixon, Umpers, and Stewart counties. To this union, 13 children were born. As you can see, Ben died before the Civil War. She lived like 35 more years after Ben did, but a lot of those years, apparently, she was blind. And Dad always told me that they lived in that same house all the time, but actually lived in 3 counties. They lived in Humphreys and Stewart in Houston County and never moved. So anyway, and Charlie, I guess we're ready to okay, I'll talk a little bit. This is the Tomlinson house. Still there today. James Tomlinson, Tilton's son, lives there. And I've just been told this, but it really looks apart. Supposedly there's been 3 or 4 houses there, but they never did tear the chimney down. When they built another house, they just hooked it to the same chimney. And it looks the part. So if that's true, that chimney was built in about 1800. are close by there. Okay, this, and the way we've got this set up, you know, we're gonna have to show you some of these pictures, but these people aren't gonna be talked about for a while. But this is Benjamin Jr. and Jane McDonald Brown, who I guess is kind of the grandfather of a lot of us in here, I'll put it like that. But I think they went to church at Tennessee Ridge, and as far as I know, they lived at what I would call the Mahoney place, right there at the McDonald Cemetery. And I think they're the first two that was buried there, but I'm not sure of that either. So, all right, this is their son, Reed Brown. This is my grandmother and granddaddy, Reed Brown, and Blanche. She was a Buchanan, and we'll kind of go through their tree here a little later on. But that's mine and Randall and Robert Reed's, all of us as grandparents right there. And they lived where I was raised, by the way. Dad and Mom was in Detroit all those years in the 20s and bought that place, and grandmother and granddad lived there till Mom and Dad moved back in 1950. Okay. Now, here's Benjamin Brown and Rachel, my great-great grandfather. They had 13 children, as you can see there, and very briefly, I'm going to try to go through them and tell you who married who. The first two, as you can see, died young. That Martha Patsy, number 3, married a James Nichols from Erin. The next one, Cassandra, was never married. Ruth married a man named Mitchell Hudson, which I don't have much on. Perry Lewis, kind of the same thing. He married a lady by the name of Cowan in 1866. Rachel, daughter Rachel, stay on number 1 there, Charlie. Can you? Yeah. Rachel, number 7, married another Nichols, Isaac Nichols. Benjamin, number 8, married Jane McDonald, and that's the most important one right there. Charlotte, number 9, didn't marry. Abigail did not marry. And Cynthia Jane married a Rushing in 1857. Now here's Margaret, who's a ton of descendants. She married George Knight in 1856. Mary Emily married a fellow by the name of Brooks Triplett, the 13th child. And I want to throw a couple of little things in here before I forget it. I hope none of the Browns is rolling over in their grave and saying that I'm wrong about this, but I actually went by McDonald Cemetery, and it's kind of quiet, so maybe we're okay on that. And I had a dream about this the other night, believe it or not. It was like a nightmare. And I come in here, and y'all are here, and I couldn't find my book. And I don't know, I just panicked, and I thought I was over at Claiborne's, and I'm not talking about Arlington, I'm talking about right over here. So there was people in the street, and I couldn't get through, and it was bad, really. And finally, Kay told me to shut up and wake up. But anyway, I got over to Claiborne's, and the boys weren't there, you know, and Billy Ray wasn't there either, but Granddaddy, Ray and Stella were in there, and y'all remember them old bicycles that they delivered groceries with? Yeah. They were all out front there, and but anyway, I finally got over that. Moving on. Now, we'll get to some people here pretty quick that, you know, this Martha Patsy that married to James Nichols. First child was Oliver Perry. And the way she did this, and it's kind of, you know, I can't keep up with it, to be honest with you. But she took that first child there, say Oliver Perry, and she broke all his descendants out to 1967. Then she went back and picked up William Tazewell and E. Ben, and that's the way she's done this thing. And I'm gonna be doing a lot of skipping for people that I know a lot of us don't know anything about. But the Nichols, I've got a brief biography on him. Somewhere. Anyway, supposedly he was real wealthy. I don't really see what I'm looking for, but he was real wealthy and owned a lot of Erin. Yeah, here we go. Martha Patsy Brown, daughter of Ben and Rachel Brown, was married to James William Nichols, who owned a great part of what's now Erin. And as each of their children married, they were given several acres of land, and each child selected a site for their home, which is on top of the hills surrounding Erin. Martha joined the Methodist Church in the summer of 1842. Her husband was a member of the first grand jury who met in August of '71 in Houston County. So, you know, right off the bat, you can figure out why all the Nichols is on Tank Hill. And apparently he owned all of it, I guess. I don't know, but this, like I said, this was a long time ago, and he was apparently very well off. So, anyway, now the very first child there, Oliver Perry, married another Nichols. And that very first child there, Ingham, we get to know somebody pretty quick here. He married Mary Elizabeth Milam. They had 12 children. Some of y'all know some of these. Clara, Earl, David, Bertha, Lilla, Ruby, William Nelson, Thelma, Dorothy Mildred, Mary Lee, Finus Ewell, and Philip Herbert. Is Andy here, Nichols? I jumped him about coming out here. But anyway, that Finus Ewell is the father of all the Nichols. Tommy, T, Bobby, all of them. And of course he would be their the Brown guy would be their great-great-grandfather also. Okay, let's scan a little bit, Charlie. I'm going to do it in the book here. And you see, like Louise Nichols married Buford Rye, Bonnie, Gerald, Marvin, they were all people of our age. Bonnie, one of them married J.C. Clark, Catherine married Lewis Smith, so on and so forth. Okay, Charlie, move to another page. Virginia Nichols down there at the bottom. Now that's, okay, wait, we pick up another family right there. That William N. Nichols, that was Nelson's daddy and mother. And Virginia, Bertha Ann Nelson, and Janie, who married Phil Clark. And then it tells, you know, Virginia picks up Virginia first there, married Garner Morrison, and okay. Nelson Nichols married Wilma White. Then we get down to another child, that Dorothy Nichols married a Weldon Ross. I don't know who that is. And like I said, if any of y'all know some of these people and you want to, we've got it in detail here, but I can't do all 65 pages unless you want to stay till midnight. Okay, Charlie, move a page. Okay. Now there's the people we know. Yule Nichols married Mary Kay Kane of McEwen. Betty, Tommy, William, Wanda, Bobby, Andy, and Donald and Billy Ray. Betty Nichols married Trawick. Robert married Deborah Bate. Tommy married Patty Grice, and so on and so forth. Okay? Now there is another lean. Okay, here you get into all the subs, and you'll find all these people are in. It was on Thank You, or nearly. Lena Nichols, another one of those girls, married Luther Sugg. Had 4 children: Edith, Carlton, Ava, and Luther Jr. And of course, Ava married Martin Spurgeon. Jewel married Virgil Steppi. Had 2 children, Joreen and Donna. Joreen married Gray Nolan, Joy Lynn, Beverly, Joel, and Ginger. Is Joel here? My man, you showed. Good job. Good job. Good job. Carlton Sugg married Grace Moore. Ava Sugg married Martin Spurgeon. Move on. Wanda married Cecil Baggett. Luther Jr. married a McElroy. Sheriff, you ought to know where you had several of these.
Yes, sir. Me with several of them.
Okay? He's a Sugg. You know, y'all all know him better than I do, but he did me one big favor already, I'll tell you, a long time ago. Okay, we get on down there to that Ethel Nichols married a Willie Whitworth, had a child named Evelyn, and then Evelyn's second marriage, I'm trying to get to the Moores. Raymond Moore, I don't know where he come from up above, but he married Juanita Lyle, and 2 children, Rhonda, Brenda, and Ronald. And then we go to another Nichols, and so I guess that kind of at least wipes out the Suggs and Nickel connection. Okay, we pick up another Nichols, Tazewell. Go up 1.
Go down, I can see his name, go down, I can make his name out. It's too far away.
Okay, and Elbert. Benjamin Nichols married McClanahan. Now, I think all these ended up like in California, if you look, so we probably don't know any of them. You can move on. Yeah, all of them here are out of state. There's one down there ended up in Wales. Mine and Charlie's page numbers don't correspond either, so I'm trying to catch up here a little bit. Okay, move up a page, Charlie, please. Okay, them are mostly all in Oklahoma. Yeah. Now that Earl Nichols, I remember an Earl Nichols, but that's showing in Oklahoma City, so that wouldn't be the one that lived here. Please even move. Okay, we're down to another child. Good. I can catch up here. Now we're down to child number 4, Cassandra. She never married. And then this Ruth married a Hudson, and that's all we've got on her. In 1872. Then a Perry Brown, which was the sixth child of the original, married N.A. Cowan, a widow. Okay, move up one. I don't think we got anything on most of these. Not wanting to move for you, Charlie?
I moved to one. With a Rachel Brown.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and I've been through these, and the Perry, doesn't ring a bell. And there's not any of these that I'm skipping. I'm not sure any of them's in McDonald Cemetery. And most, all the Browns that we all know are in McDonald Cemetery except the originals that's up there at the Tomlinson place. But now we got another girl that married a Nichols. And let me see here. Hold on just a minute, Charlie. Thank goodness. Page 14. Okay, this Rachel Brown married a Nichols, and there's several, we get into Beards and Jane Rye and all kind of people here, so we better spend a little time, trying to spend time on at least the people that come, you know. Okay, their first child was Elbert. And another thing, in all these, there's a lot of Elberts, and there's a lot of Eudoras. I mean, Dad had a sister, Dora, but her real name was Eudora. And there's tons of Benjamins throughout all this. But anyway, Elbert. Born in 1850, and, well, Rachel and the Nichols, doesn't show when they were married, does it? Was born and died. But Elbert was born in 1850 and 1920. Now we're going to go through Elbert's children. So move up one. He married an Anderson and had 3 children, William Chastain and Adam. And I don't know, I think that Adam is a dog, Jane. Is that right? A woman? Do you know?
Ada.
I don't know. It says Adam here, but I think we get on over here that ended up, I mean, I think she married, I don't know, we'll see.
So my grandmother was Ada Nichols.
Great grandmother? Okay, so then you pick up that first child, see, William Nichols, that's who they married, lived Jackson, Memphis. Walter Nichols, pick up their first child. Okay, he's on Donald. Back up one, but I'm sorry. Okay, go one. All right, go one more. Okay, here's some people that maybe we're going to know. This Beanie Beard, which was a descendant of Elbert there, married Gaither Bishop. That number 5 there, Aretha, is Jane Rye's mother.
Yeah.
And most of you remember Howard was a teacher up here at the high school. Mr. Batson was a janitor. And I don't know any of those others. But then that first child, which would have been Aretha's sister, married a Wright. And they multiplied big time. There's a lot of Wrights, but right off the bat, that first child there is Myrtle. Now, that was J.B. Avert's wife. And, well, you can see they had 2 children, Phil and Kim. And then Beach and Wright married a Breeden. Okay, we can move. Glenda Wright married William Bailey. That was Jeanette's brother. They divorced, and then she married Buck Settles. Edward Bishop married a Mary Lou Hankins. I don't know. That shows a Carlton Bishop, but that's not the Carlton Bishop. He was Batson's son. Theo Carlton married Jeanette. I'm right on that, Anna Jane. Carlton Bishop was Batson's son, right?
No, Carlton was, when Batson just had one son, Carmen was his.
That's right. I'm thinking Carmen. Yeah, right. That's
Uncle
right.
Edwards was
Yeah. Okay.
Carlton's daddy.
Yeah, I was thinking of.
Yeah, Uncle Edwards.
I was thinking of Carmen. Carmen was, yeah. And so moving on, see Charlie. Washington, Medina, Tennessee. Back up at the top, James Jenny Bishop. Here we go. Aretha Bishop married Lehman Wright. Yule Lionel. Ralph Dexter, Sarah Robarta Bobby.
Yeah.
Patricia Jane, Sue McKay, and Shelby Earl. Lionel married Lorraine Clark. 2 children, Eddie and Elaine. Okay. Now them's Dick's kids up there at the top. Dick's the one that married the Dorothy Adams. Or, yeah. Bobby married Roy Carson. Jane married, where I've lost you,
Roy
Jane.
Morrison.
Okay, Roy Marson. Watson married, Carmen Bishop married a girl in Florida, and he passed away just 2 or 3 years ago. Howard Bishop married a widow. Okay, move a page. Okay, move a page. Enos Beard, Thelma Beard, Gertrude Beard, okay. Like I said, now if you see somebody here that we're going too fast, slow me down and ask. Carrie Beard married Thomas Nolan. And here we go, right here. George, Cornelius, Doris, Susie, Hugh Thomas, Sally Mae, and Gray Nolan. So the Nolan friend over here, he's come in here from both sides.
We're all tangled together.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, it's surprising how many of us are like 15th cousin or something, you know. George Nolan married to Nellie Curtis. I know who that is. Okay. That's Nelda and Ronald's mom and dad. Is Nelda still alive?
Yeah, Melvin.
Okay. But he died. Ronald died, right?
Yeah.
Hugh Nolan, Sally Nolan married Donald Clark. Albert Gray Nolan, here we go again. Married Jolene Steppe, Joy Beverly, Joel, and Ginger Gay. Wynn Nolan, okay, move on. Arthur Wright, Carney Wright, Hugh Hankins married Peggy Pulley. Travis Beard married Eunice Parchment. You know all of them. Donald, Naomi, Margaret, Ace, Golda, Paul, Eugenia, Oliver, Terry, and Michael. And of all those 10, what?
Two of them are left,
Two left.
Golda and Terry.
Okay. And what, let's see, Donald married Betty Pulley, Naomi married Jim Kirkendall, Margaret married Ray Rye, Albert married Helen Powell, blah, 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 Eugenia married a Castleberry from Paris, and Oliver married Thelma Powell. Okay, now you kind of lost me again, Charlie. Lily Nichols, granddaughter. I don't know who that is. But anyway, move on. Okay, now I know what I'm talking about, or fixing to. Let me see what page I'm on. Benjamin 29. We get through with Benjamin here, and the night is I mean, we're moving pretty good. I don't know what time it is, but we'll be okay, maybe. Okay, Benjamin, eighth child of Ben and Rachel Brown. This is my great-grandfather, Randall's great-grandfather, Randall's great-grandfather, and the Potts' great-great-grandfather. But he married Jane McDonald. And they're the one that had the spinning wheel that's in the archives. That's, I don't know where Daddy got a hold of it, but it showed up in later years, to be honest with you. I don't know where that come from. But it's in the archives. So first child, Rachel Brown married Felix Petty. And they had 10 children. And if you'll notice, nearly all of them are L's, and all of them are boys, but number 3. And we're going to concentrate on her. She happens to be Clint and Greg's grandmother. She married Marvin Reynolds. But so, and Leonard, most of these Petties ended up in Houston, in Umpers County. So you're not going to know many of them except Miss Lena's descendants. But Leonard lived over there not far from our house over there at Collins Bridge, where it crosses White Oak. That was the old Petty home place. And he married, that Price he married to was Kendra Beverly at Cecily. I think she was their aunt. And one of them boys got killed at Eugene, got killed in 1944. And they brought him, Mom and Dad lived in Detroit at the time, and I can remember this, even though I was born in 44, I don't think they got his body back for 3 or 4 years. And they brought his body back to one of his sisters who lived in Detroit. And I remember Mom and Dad going over there and taking me, and his name was Gene Petty, and he got killed in World War II. Okay, he's up there. Because we're going to have to move fast. So Leonard had a bunch of kids. Margaret, Med Scholes, Charles Scholes, married a Busby, Duncan Petty, James Petty, Donald Petty. Move on. This screen's helping me so much. I'd be nuts trying to do this in this book, I guess. Landy Petty. Marie Martin, Landy second, move on. I knew that Ruby Petty that married to Bud Jones. They lived pretty close to Mom and Dad. That Mac and I were buddies, so move on. Okay, let's work a little bit here with Lena Petty that married Marvin Reynolds. 8 children. Eleanor May Scholes that married Teddy Scholes, his mama. Mary Sue was Annie Ruth Williams, his mama. And John lived in Umphress County, and he had a couple kids. Arthur and Alma were twins, born in 1918. Glenn and that last girl passed away. But back, what I was always told, Miss Lena, her mother died like at 35-year-old, and she cooked and raised all them brothers, their grandmother. So kudos to her. And you can see, I've already told you on some, but like Eleanor Scholes married Hack Scholes, Joanne, Teddy, and Terry. And I think Joanne's up here in the nursing home, and Teddy's in Umphress County, and Terry's on Long Range. Okay. Mary Reynolds, that's Annie Ruth. Debbie, a lot of you probably know her. Ellis Ray married Doris Grice. Annie Ruth married Freeman Clark. Arthur Reynolds married Sally Bell Freeman. Alma Reynolds married Lewis Robinson, Shirley Thomas, and Mike. Patricia, move up one page there. Now, back up, I'm sorry. See, she doesn't have, like on Clint and Greg, and you'll see me and my brother, she doesn't have anything on us because we didn't have anything in 1967. So, okay. We're still in the Petties. And most of them, like I said, lived in Umphress County. Okay, I think you can move one. Okay, there's a Brown down there that married. Oh, no, we're fixing. Okay, we're done. Okay. That John Brown married Elizabeth Skurlock. We've got some descendants here of that. I don't know which child he was of great granddaddy Ben and Jane, but John Brown was a rural mail carrier and on horseback, and his brother, who we're going to see here in a minute, also was a rural mail carrier. And okay, they had 2 children apparently, Mildred and Valley. And I'll tell you a little quick story. Valley married a preacher in Clarksville. Brother Seagoat was his name. And when I was 7 or 8-10-year-old, there's very few graves in McDonald Cemetery, but Memorial Day, and I don't know how I don't know how these dinners on the ground worked. I mean, I could get down there and get into anything, but they always had dinner on the ground at the cemetery. And Uncle Ed Q, who we're going to run into here in a minute, was from Clarksville also, and the Clarksville people brought potato chips, and none of us down there saw it, but we didn't see any potato chips. So, and I remember Aunt Ruby brought some pretzels. Always asked Brother Seago to return thanks. So, the food's on the ground, and Dad and Uncle Ed couldn't hear good. Dad probably couldn't either, but they're standing there, and the pretzels is right down here, and they asked Brother Seago to return thanks. So Brother Seago starts praying, and Ed and Dad apparently didn't know he was praying, and Uncle Ed talked real loud, and his granddaughter's here somewhere, right back here. So Brother Seago, he's praying away, and Uncle Ed called Dad Brownie. He said, Brownie, here's the pretzels, where's the beer? So help, Brother Siegel, he never let up. It didn't faze him a bit, But anyway, that happened at McDonald Cemetery. But I've wondered a lot of times how, the dinner was on the ground, on a sheet, and how everybody bent over and got it. I don't know, but that's the way they did it. Okay, I think that will wipe out John L. Brown. Move on. Well, no, there's some descendants. See that Valley married Reverend Charles Green Seago, Baptist minister. Now, if that had been a Methodist preacher, he would have probably stopped. But see, that Baptist preacher kept going. Okay, I'm hoping, I'm wanting to get into that next Brown. Move one page. Sorry. Yeah, now, I don't know what the hookup was here, but those Hollands was in Missouri, and they'd come see Mom and Dad now and then. They were, I guess, Dad's first cousin. But move on a page, Charlie. They were all in. I'm missing the Claiborne boys.
You don't know.
Are they?
You wanna go to Michelle?
Yeah, keep going through all these Hilliards, and there's a lot of the Hilliards, and Meachams. Okay. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. Next page.
Okay, Benjamin Franklin Brown was the next child. And Luther Ray, Zula Mae, Stella Lorraine, and B.F. Jr. See, there's another Benjamin. Stella Lee married Ray Claiborne. She's these boys' grandmother. Now you can move. Charles Zula married a man down in West Tennessee. And that Lorraine Brown, I can tell you a little quick thing about her. She just sent Robert Reed $5,000, or her son, that Fred K. Smith, to McDonald Cemetery. She's just passed away. And she was Zula Mae's daughter, which Stella Claiborne would have been her aunt. Okay, here we are.
A
The
couple
star.
pages back where the Potts, did you mean to pass them up?
Yeah, that's different.
That's
possibly.
this, okay.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, we're just, now here is granddaddy and grandmother. And Dylan, that very first child, you see, was 15-year-old, and Dad was a little bitty fella. Dad's number 5. And believe it or not, he was out in the logwoods, 15-year-old, snaking logs, and someone in the log got on him and killed him at 15-year-old. The next one, Ernest, died of typhoid fever. Number 3 there, Ruby married Ed Q, and her granddaughter is from Clarksville, it's right back here. And that's the one that was looking at the pretzels. Now here is the Pottsies. That's Brooksy. She married Pat Q. You had Brooksy and Ruby. Ruby married Ed Q. Brooksy married Pat Q. 2 sisters married 2 brothers. And we'll get into them in a minute there, but all the Pottsies, Nell was one of Brooksy's children. Nell Q married Charlie Potts. And these girls is mom and dad. Okay, so we'll go through these a little bit closer. Reuben Brown married Ed Q. 2 children, James E. and Robert. James E.'s daughter's back here, Robert's son's back here. James E. married Ann Brown, 2 children, Carolyn and Annandale. This is Carolyn back here. Robert Q. married Pauline, move it. Did we skip one? I don't see Wayne's name. Now, Wayne, was you even born in 67?
Yeah, I was born in 61, December of 61.
Well,
Very top of the page.
yeah, I see it up there.
My
Yeah,
mom's maiden name was Hammondtree.
yeah.
I know what you got up there.
No, we don't have a last name for her.
Okay.
Okay, Brooksy married Ed Hugh, Mary Ruth, Leroy, Clifford, Martha Dean, Ronnie, and Teddy. And, Clifford Ray just died, right? And was 95 or something. He outlived them all.
They called him Jack.
Jack, yeah, that's the reason that threw me off. But anyway, Mary Ruth, man, she had 10 kids, you can see there. And you know, if you go back and look at Grandma and Granddad and all these, man, you know, every 2 years, bam, 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 right down, you know, there's 2 years, barely 2 years apart.
Stay down on television.
There you go. There you go. A lot colder winters too. Let's see.
You don't
what
have-
to do with
They
this.
didn't have television.
All right, Mary Ruth married the Spicer. Now, they stayed in Detroit. And as far as I know, a lot of them kids are alive. But Mary Ruth's dead, and so was Junebug Spicer. And I guess I think they're buried in Detroit. Are they in McDonald?
McDonald's.
Are they, okay. Leroy married an Earlene Lane, had 1 child. All right, here's our winner right here. Rosie Nell married Charlie Potts. 4 kids, Cheryl, Patricia, John, and Donna. In
Not
person.
Patricia. It's not Patricia.
Phil Jack was actually married to B. Brewer's niece, isn't that right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, it's
okay. Well, he lived, like at 93 or something, he played taps at a veterans thing with a bugle or whatever. Any of the, y'all, now this is where y'all are at. Anybody want to see anything else here? I mean, you see all the birth dates and you got to think, she did all this with postcards. So Clifford R., is that Jack?
Yeah.
Okay, married a Ruth Hutchison.
Yes.
Okay, move on, Charlie, I guess. Martha Dean married George Lewis. Teddy Q married Arlene Coe. Arthur Brown married Alice Fellas, and they had 2 kids. One was Billy and number 2 was Phil. Not much said about them. Okay, next one's somebody you know. Dad's next sister, Dean, married Ewan French, and they had a son named Randall. And he married a Patricia K. Lowry. Now here's the sad thing. The next one is Uncle Leland and Aunt Velma Grice, who was Dickie's sister. Look at that. They had those 3 children. First one was born dead. The second one lived 4 days. And the third one was born dead. And they're all buried at McDonald Cemetery. And Aunt Dora married Malcolm Fellas, and they didn't have any children. And there's another, situation where Theodore was Daddy's sister. Malcolm Fellas was Mama's brother, so brother and sister married brother and sister, not two sisters married two brothers, so. It's kind of a messed up thing, really. But no, Uncle Malcolm, and Uncle Malcolm had been married once before he married Aunt Dora. And unfortunately, they didn't get married. They got married about, I don't know, 56 or something like that. And then he died September the 16th of 60. Just lived 3 or 4 years after they got married. Grandmother found him dead in the bed and rang the bell. And that's how they did it then. And the Wilsons came up there and found him. And then Herman Wilson came over to the house and got Mom and Dad. Then the next child, Lurton Brown, married Frances Baggett. Frances Baggett was Cecil Baggett, Austin Baggett, and the other Baggett's sister, older sister. Had 2 children, Melvin and Anthony. Melvin is right there. And Anthony, you didn't make the grade, did you? Daryl, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. But when was you born?
7.
Oh, see, you didn't say.
I'm too young.
Yeah, you're not at this point. All right, here we go. Jean Brown married Martha Biggs. Robert Reed, Steve, and Jenna. Y'all all know who that is. Catherine Brown married Willie Hudson. Now she's the only one. All these went to Detroit in the 20s. Every one of them. And 20s, 30s, and 40s. And Kat there is she was the youngest girl, and she's the only one that never didn't stay, was buried in Detroit, long story short. Willie was brought back down here, and Willie, I didn't know this, like Cecil Baggett's mother, it was Willie's sister, and I didn't know that until later years. So that takes care of Reed Brown bunch. Now, Charlotte, the 9th child, did not marry. Abigail did not marry. Cynthia Brown married this Philander Rushing. I don't know anything much about them, but they were born like way back. I mean, he was born in 1857, so, okay, Charlie, move up there. Okay. Go again. Okay, now here goes one that we've got some kinfolks here. Margaret Brown, the 12th child. There's just 13, guys. So hold on. Page 50. Okay. A lot of descendants here. I mean, all the knights came out of George Wade Knight and Margaret Brown. And I think they're buried down there on Long Branch. Got any idea? There's some knights and triplets. You can't, and they're all just rocks. Laura and the 2 twins, they used to come down there to the grave a lot, yard. So there's a knight there at the Tomlinson place.
George Wade is buried over there. George Wade Knight,
At the Tomlinson place on Long Branch.
I think so.
And Margaret is our cemetery across from where my mom and.
Now there's another Margaret.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I think you're talking probably the next
Okay.
one. Because see, we're going way back here again now. We're going back to a child of the original Ben and Rachel. They were born, well, George Knight was born in 1839, died in 93. Doesn't tell when she was born, does it? It doesn't. And this is where Miss Davis come from too. That did all this, unbelievably. She was a descendant of all this. So, okay, and I know I'm not really familiar with all this, but let's move. Charles Knight married to Dora Nichols. And you know, you kind of remember hearing of some of these people. Claude Knight, Dulcie Blanche, Annie Ruth, Minnie. And then she picks up another one. Claude married a Cornell. Dulcie Knight married Bessie Roby. Lloyd, Eugene, and Floyd, Dulcie, Vernon, Roby. Yeah, right there, that Dulcie Knight married that Bessie. That's Guy Knight, you know, lived up there by Booker. Charles Garner Knight is Terry Knight and Lanny Knight's daddy. And Vernon was the trustee, and Dulcie. And yeah, that's right, because there's Guy Knight married to Wagner, had 2 children, Dorothy Lee, Norman. Norman married Linda Stringfield, that's right. Move on. Yeah, Charles Knight married a Nance. Maybe she was maybe she was a Nance to start with, I know. Terry and Lanny. And they lived in the same apartment building in Detroit that Mother and Daddy lived in. And Terry, I was born on January the 13th of 44. And Terry was born, like you see there, about 20 days after me. And so his first name, she actually named him after me, Philip Terry. And nobody knows that, but but my mama told me that. And there's actually a picture at home with her holding Terry and Mama holding me when we were very small. Terry married a girl in Detroit. Vernon Knight married Eleanor Boone. Children Barbara. Dulcie Knight married Peggy Steed. These are later date people. Floyd Eugenia Knight married Roland Roby. Jane Bart and Cheryl. Janie Roby married Landon Brake. Move on. Now, I don't know some of these. We got into some McKinnons here for sure. That Marge McKinnon down there married that Robert C. I think I know who that is. Okay. Okay, now you got a Minnie Pauline Knight married a Grover Douglas. G.G. Thomas and Betty Sue. G.G. Jr. married Lois Keene. Children Robert, Kenneth, Danny, and Thomas. Kenneth Douglas married a Sammy Jackson and Elizabeth Eldred Grady. Is that you? Okay. That's Joyce's daddy, so we'll get in. We ought to be running into Joyce here pretty quick. Okay, move on. Elizabeth Knight married an Adams. Okay, Eldred Knight married Merle Latimer. There we go. Right up at the top. Joyce, Harold, and Judy. Joyce married Doreen Pryor. Andrea, Ruby, Judy married Mike Carpenter. John Knight married Dorothy Sloan. Brenda Knight married a Walker. Laura Knight married a Hopkins. Okay. That Viola Knight there that married to David Marshall Davis. Now that's there she is, right there. That's the lady that you gotta give credit to all this to, not me. And I don't know how many years it would took her to do that, but it doesn't tell when she died. I remember when her daddy was in the post office, in the railroad station. And he died in, I remember that in '62. That was the first year I went to work down at the rock crusher, and we shipped a lot of stuff out of there to rail, and it all had to come through here. And so that's how I knew the clerks in the railroad office. Okay, move on down. That George A. Knight married a Roby. Can you hard move up one? Joyce, you know who that is? Patricia Ann, Robert Frazier, and Sandra Kay. Well, I remember some of them Robies with them going to Odessa, Texas. Something about that. Robert Knight married a Bowers. Second marriage. Sandra Knight. Okay, William Knight married Mary Frances Macmillan.
My grandparents.
That's what I thought, yeah. We got number 4 here with us. And Lola and Laura were the twins that taught school at Long Branch Grammar School. George Francis, Margaret, and Garner. And one of them was, wasn't one of them a conductor on the railroad?
George
Yeah.
Francis.
Yeah, and he was working in the '60s from Bowling Green to Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. Some of those L&N guys, they didn't want to stop at Cumberland City. They wanted to get on home. And Laura Knight married a Roby. And I'm pretty sure that those twins would come down and come to the graveyard on Long Branch and come on down to Dad's store. Okay, third child there, George Knight married a Ruth Evelyn Lewis. Up one. Hope William Francis. You see, there's a Benjamin. Hope Knight married a Roland. Benjamin F. Knight. Where have we skipped you getting married? How did we do that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
You haven't called on me yet. Gardner was my father.
Keep bottom,
Huh?
bottom slide.
Where? I've got, I had a thing here and I didn't.
Very bottom,
Huh?
very bottom.
Garner Knight married Gladys Latimer.
Right.
Oh, so this is your mother and daddy right here. Okay, yeah. I'm messed up here, which is not hard to do. Roll up one, Charlie. That's it. Was that after '67? Would she not have had any of you, like, she had your marriage?
Yeah. She didn't have ours.
I don't think so.
Well, my brother Roy Wayne Knight.
Yeah, there, see, this is showing y'all being born. Oh, let me think what
Still
page.
alive.
Page 50. No, here, she ends the nights with Garner Knight marrying Gladys Latimer, 1941. Children War Lane, March the 5th of 42.
Right.
Helen Francis, get this, Helen Francis, January the 12th, 1944. I was born the next day. So you're older than I am. Okay, that winds up the night, unless somebody's got a question. Right, Charlie? We should be to Joseph, Mary Emily Brown, last kid. And I'm gonna go through all these, it's over in Humphreys County, and I know a lot of them, because I was raised right on the Houston-Humphreys County line. But a lot of these, they all went to Waverly to high school, and I don't think many of these gonna ring a bell with anybody. But the last child of the original Ben and Rachel is Mary Emily, and she married a Charles Triplett. And I'm assuming it was in Humphreys County, and they had 8 children. See, they had another Benjamin. And I will touch on that Joseph Lee. His name was Lee Triplett, and he lived fairly close. His 7 children there, I knew about all of them. But they were Dad's age. I mean, they're not my age. Marshall, and I knew all of Marshall's children. But I think you can get in gear here, Charlie. That Marshall Triplett married that Dorothy Mae Forrest, and another sad situation there. They had those 6 kids, and see, she died in 41 and was born in 12. So she died very young. And that Wanda Mae, that 3rd child, just died here recently. But she pretty much raised all them kids. And they lived over on Gander Branch, which is, if you know where Concord Church is, you turn right there and go back down through there. And that's where nearly all them triplets lived, was down in there. Okay. Wanda there, the girl that raised all them kids, another quick story. She married this old boy named Sidney Pate, Long Beach, California. They moved, he just got out of the Army, and he's looking for a job, so I told Dad to come down to the Rock Country. And he did, and it was so dusty that day you couldn't see your hand in front of you, you know. Long story short, he just lasted 1 day. Tracy Triplett, all of them are Humphreys County stuff. Okay, bud, keep going. J.C. Triplett lived in Humphreys County. I played baseball with that Earl Triplett. He was my age. Okay. Is this, yeah, here was something, and I don't know how this come about. But you got this May Knight married a Collier. Now that's descendants of the triplets. We're not going backwards here. And that Carlton Collier was a good basketball player here. He was born in 37, so he would have been in high school when I was in the 2nd grade or 3rd. Booker would know him. Didn't get a rise out of you out of that.
He married her.
Now Carlton married Jane Nolan,
Oh, it is?
Miss Nolan's daughter, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Uh, Yeah, Jane Nolan, I tell you, she graduated with my brother at 54. And Carlton was a little bit older than her, so he would have graduated in 51 or 50. He's a great big tall, he's a good basketball player. Okay. Now this Clayton triplet that married that Hilda Latimer, they were all raised in Houston County. Joyce, Gordon triplet was who married Artie Tanner's. Well, I mean, she married Artie, that was her second marriage. She was married to Gordon triplet. He got killed in a car wreck up here on 49 one night. I remember that very well. Bonnie Sue and Virgie. Joyce married James Dennis. They had 3 children, Ann, Larry. They're all about our age or my age. And then Joyce married Landon White, and 2 children. And Gordon married that Mary Jewel Coakley, and she's, after he got killed several years later, she married Artie Tanner. Bonnie Triplett married an Orman Mathis. Okay. Virgie Triplett married Carl Triplett. There's 2 triplets that married triplets. Okay, Alma Triplett married Tom Carpenter, Mike, Reggie, Daryl, Sandra, and Michael. Elvis Triplett. There's a Benjamin Triplett down there at the bottom. Okay. I don't know if that Patricia Ridings could be that Ridings girl that lived at Tennessee Ridge. She married a Mr. Wysong. Her mother was Bab Wills' daughter. If I remember right. Okay. That's it. That's it. And I've got Miss, what's her name? Davis. She's got a lot of stuff in here about the Knights. It's biographies of who did this and who did that. That one Brown, that Perry Lewis Brown, she says here, owned $4,000 of real estate in Umpers County in 1870. If he did, he was rich. He had $4,000 in 1870. And I can remember my grandmother telling, and some of my aunts, that, and Randall's probably heard the same story, that, you know, and it's hard to imagine, but there was times that they didn't have one dime in the house. Not one penny. But they eat every day, you know. But no money. 0. And, you know, it's just hard to kind of imagine that, you know, a kid tickled to death to get a nickel. You know, of course, that would buy a case of Cokes back then. And I'm not going to go into, you know, reading all these things, of course, but there's a lot of stuff in here that she kind of biography stuff on individuals, but there's a Robert Knight and a Laura Elizabeth, what's that? The 2 Browns that were mail carriers. One other quick story and I'll hush. They were y'all's great granddaddy, right? Frank and whatever the else was. But they rode horseback, and grandmother said that, you know, when they come by the mailbox, it's pouring down rain, one of them, you know, he would holler, "Fine day." And that was just what he'd do. He'd holler, "Fine day." Well, when I was a kid, Mr. Hutchison, Irwin Hutchison, who was J.L. Sykes, his wife's daddy, he would come by and holler, "Fine day." Well, it would infuriate Grandma that he was taking over from you know, she didn't like that at all. And he was kind of hot-headed. I shot him one time with a water pistol through the window. Ooh, he got mad at me. And then that made Daddy mad. Because Hutch got so mad at me. But I've enjoyed this, and I mean, I couldn't have done this at all if I hadn't had all this stuff from her, of course, you know. So, and once again, I cannot imagine how somebody would do something like this with postcards. I mean, you could see it today if you get on a computer and email this one, email that one. But, I mean, what did I say, 65 pages, and we went through it very hurriedly. But the breakdown that she's got is 66 typewritten pages. So, kudos to her. And I don't have any idea when she died. Y'all know? She substituted teacher a lot around here. I don't ever remember having a school, but I know she substituted a lot here and there. And they live in the White House right beside the funeral home.
I used to mow their yard, Bill.
Oh, did you?
Her and her mother lived there together.
You talking about Francis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much go with it?
Well, did she have a class as such or just substitute? I
He was
mean,
substitute.
yeah,
Yeah, might lay up when he got sick.
okay.
Lay out and she substituted for.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good while. That was like your old friend.
Yeah, y'all probably did. Okay, I'm done.
Anybody have any questions, comments, or anything?
Yeah.
Mr. Brown?
Bill, do you ever hear from
There's one back in the.
one of the Seagulls? She used to do backgrounds and stuff.
I don't know. The Catherine Brown Hudson's son's daughter does a lot of this in Detroit too, but they're buried in McDonald Cemetery. Now, I don't know if the kids are or not, but Brother Seagull in Valley is buried there.
Right,
Yeah.
I remember that.
And you know, that cemetery, boy, there's a lot of people, so help me, when we were all little, there's very few graves, and it was growed up with cedar trees. I mean, you couldn't find a grave in that place. And thanks to Dad and Robert Reed, you know what it looks like today. Really, and Gene, and several others. I'm not trying to miss somebody. A lot of people's worked on it, but it was, you know, big cedar trees everywhere, and very few graves. Like I said, I think, you know, the original Benjamin Jr. and the Jane McDonald was the first two buried there, as far as I know. Thank y'all. So many comments.
Bill,
Yes.
Mr. Ray's got a question for you.
You know, my dad was born and raised on Billy Hill.
Yes.
You know where that's at?
Yes, on Long Branch.
His mother was Rhoda Brown, married John Elliott.
Yeah.
I was hoping to hear something about them, but are you aware of
Okay.
them?
As far as I know, because I know Bob Brown.
Bob was
There was a
right up.
descendant of Bob Brown that lived on Lewis Spring.
Yeah,
But Bob Brown was an entirely different
different tribe.
tribe.
Okay.
And
I was
will
wondering
tell you
about
this.
that. I didn't know if you'd been kin to me or not.
No, unfortunately, Ray, you didn't make the grade. Let me think just a minute. Bob Brown, let me think, his wife was Porter Cook's sister.
Yeah, You're right.
And that's David Cook's daddy and all the cooks down there on those springs, yeah. But I don't know anything about, now there's cemeteries up on the hill
On the
there.
Brown Cemetery up on the hill there,
On the
right.
hill there, yeah. And that's where, now that, real quick, Bob Brown, what he's talking about was Georgie Irwin's
Right.
mother and Homer Young's wife's mother. Clarence Artis's wife's
Well, yep.
mother and daddy, so that's that bunch.
I remember as a boy, he used to ride his horse. Maltby store.
Bob Brown.
Uh-huh.
Well, Mr. Bill Irvin rode a horse all over the place too. He come to Long Branch Church every Sunday morning on a horse. And I wanted one so bad. Finally got one. And that was the gentlest horse you've ever seen in your life. And I had that thing about 2 weeks, and it turned into just a monster. He would turn around and bite me on the leg. And he bit Dad one time, and we sold him pretty quick. Dad just flew mad and drove back with his fist and hit that horse in the side of the head. And I mean, Dad's arm just went limp. I mean, it didn't hurt the horse a bit. You don't want to hit a horse with your fist. That won't get you nowhere. Y'all got me talking too much.
Well, we'd love to have you all come back the second Tuesday in next month, and we'll have Sid Benson talking about the structures here in Erin, and we'd love to see you then. So we'll adjourn and go home. Thank you.